Valentine's Day.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day.
I know this probably won't air on Valentine's Day, but it's the day we're doing it.
Yes, it is. And I'm Frank H. Weeden, and this is T.D. Cooper, and our links to our respective author pages are down below. And happy Valentine's to you as well.
Probably belated.
Yes. But I hope you had a good Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So, alrighty. And this morning we were talking about, you had mentioned earlier that when you take your books around to libraries or talking to kids or whatever it happens to be, you get and I get the same question a lot as an author is, where do you get your ideas? And of course, I think for you, because you write nicer things, you get, oh, where do you get your ideas? And people like wrinkle their nose at me and they go like, where do you get your ideas? What is wrong with you?
I get that look too, though, because a lot of because my stuff is fantasy,
right?
And I come up with all this magical stuff, creative stuff. But yeah, I do get a lot of questions from the students. I go to the high schools a lot and share my books and talk about careers in writing. And there's a lot of kids out there that are interested in writing. In fact, Cooper came home yesterday. He's in first grade, and he wrote a book. And he was so anxious to show it to me.
Oh, nice.
And it was about no, I can't think it. Say it. It was about going to the shelter and buying a puppy. And the puppy's name was Carson. And it had a beginning, and it had a middle, and it had an end. And you couldn't read the writing. And he had to kind of help me out there, but
right.
It was perfect. It was about 8 pages and 4 pages.
Impressive.
It was really impressive. I was really excited because he likes to sit around and tell stories.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so this all comes back to where do we get our ideas? Well, life mostly.
Right. And we sit around, we tell stories.
Uh-huh.
I mean, since the first humans scratched stories on the walls of their caves. We've told stories since time immemorial.
Right.
And until there was things written down and we actually developed an alphabet, the only way we pass down our history, and like the Hmong and some of the other cultures, they don't have a written language. So they tell stories. That's how they pass down everything.
Everything.
The Native Americans, the same way. We always told stories.
Uh-huh.
So.
But I have I don't know, my imagination always goes to, well, if it has to be normal, how can I make it not normal? How can I make an edge, have somebody get an edge?
Right.
But a lot of my little short stories come from writing prompts.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be the right writing prompt that strikes me before I'll write it down.
Right.
And I know you write off of writing prompts a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I told the kids was the writing prompt, it lets me practice. More than anything, it gives me an idea, and then I have to build off of that idea. But the other thing is, I get a lot of my stories out of my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do that?
I do. I've got a couple of stories that have come to me in dreams. I got other stories that I've written that have been knocking around in my consciousness since my 20s.
Right.
That I'm like, all right, and finally it takes a little bit of courage to sit down and go, you know what, I'm gonna go for it.
I'm gonna hammer this out. Right.
And I think I might have one story that was originally starting out as a vampire story, and this is before Anne Rice, before any of the whole vampire culture became a big thing. So I'm writing this vampire story, and I'm about 24 pages into the thing, and all of a sudden here's Anne Rice and here's all these other things, and I'm like,
a day late and a dollar short.
Forget it. And then it becomes like fad writing to fads, and I'm like, yeah, no, forget it. How many pseudo J.K. Rowlings are there out there right now? It's like, stop it.
Yeah. In fact, I probably am one of those.
No, I don't think so. I don't see that.
I think Magic House is kind of follows the same kind of.
Sort of, but then again, it's very different. Yeah,
it's a takeoff of Atlantis and
that
old story.
Right.
But Second Chances, a Book of Choices was out of a dream. I had that dream, and when I was a kid, and it was kind of a reoccurring dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I broke my leg and couldn't go anywhere, I just started writing down the whole story.
The story Ghostlight was based on a dream that I had one time. I dreamt that I had drained the water out of the tub, and I looked down the drain, and I could see a light way down at the bottom, and it looked like there was like a hallway with like black and white checkerboard tile and a pair of slippers, and it was like a passageway, and it was way down there.
I'm glad I'm not the only weird one.
Yeah, and so I was like, wow, that's that. And in the dream, I knew that some fabulous treasure had been hidden somewhere in the house. And I'm like, oh. And so I was going to find this secret passageway. But so that makes its way in a different form into Ghostlight.
Right.
And then like Disconnected comes from, stuff that I experienced in Japan. Not entirely, but there's other elements. And so I'll grab elements from different places,
right,
and put those in there because it lends authenticity,
right?
And so,
well, Strewn Shoes came from raising a visually impaired daughter,
right?
And although I didn't want to write her biography, which this is not, I wanted to write a story about the challenges of being handicapped,
right? And so the elements are there,
right? So you reach out into your life, be aware of what's going on. Pay attention to what people are doing, what they're saying.
Right. How things make you feel.
Right. And you can really come up with some good ideas and expand off of those.
Right.
Make them silly, make them scary, make them, turn them into something else, but take that original thought and
turn it into something.
Turn it into something.
Right.
And I think that's what most writers do, or at least I know that's what I do.
Right.
So
I'm looking at this image I've got on my computer screen right now. It's my wallpaper, and it's a girl in a red dress riding a blue sparrow, and she's holding a thing of like grapes, and I guess to feed it to him to keep him fueled up.
Yeah.
And there's a crescent moon behind her, and there's clouds and stuff, and it's really kind of a cool picture.
And there goes Frank.
Yeah. But I mean, it's stuff like that you kind of go, oh.
Yes,
wow.
exactly. Exactly. So you look at that picture and you think, oh, I can turn that girl into a story. What is she doing?
Right. How did she tame the sparrow? How big is she, and how big is this bird?
Right.
That she's able to ride to straddle it and ride this bird over, and where's she going? So.
Right. So that's what I tell them, when I'm having a little discussion.
Okay, well, it's been a pretty good discussion about, kind of where we get our ideas from, and
yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
So just go out there and look at life and write down some little notes if you have to. I went out one time in Zion National Park, and I started describing what those mountains and stuff look like.
Right.
And then I brought it home and I put it in a part of a story.
Right. And keep a dream diary or a dream journal. Keep a notepad beside your bed at night, and when you wake up, first thing you do is write down
what you dreamed about.
A dream. And so that's a very fertile ground for stories.
You're right.
So
very fertile ground for stories.
Anyway, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good rest of your day, and
do the same.
Hope all your romance dreams come true.
Absolutely. Thanks.